We have an amazing episode for you today, but first I want to tell you about Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast. Whether it's recording new podcast episodes, uploading existing episodes, editing, or more, Anchor gives you everything you need in one place to create your podcast from your computer or your phone and make it sound amazing. And the best part, it's free. Yes, Anchor is completely free. Anchor makes it easy to make money with a podcast without a minimum listenership, and will even distribute your podcast so it can be heard anywhere from Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and more. The podcast process has been so easy because of Anchor, and I couldn't have asked for a better experience right off the bat. I'm recommending Anchor to all of my listeners who are wanting to start a podcast. Be sure to download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started building your own podcast today. My name is Kristen Kubik, and you're listening to As Told Unfiltered, the podcast that dives deep into what it's really like running a business. The raw, the real, and the completely unfiltered. Hello, beautiful people. I think that's just going to end up being my new intro. What do y'all think? It's pretty amazing, and it kind of just rolls off the tongue beautifully, so I don't know. Welcome back to another episode of As Told Unfiltered. If you're new to the show, welcome. I'm so beyond excited to have you here. Today's episode is actually a bonus episode, but it's one that's near and dear to my heart. When this episode airs, it's going to be World Mental Health Day, and I'm a huge mental health advocate. I've personally suffered with anxiety and depression, and I've actually been diagnosed with PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, due to being a domestic violence and a child abuse survivor. So when we're talking about mental health, there are so many aspects that we can talk about. Especially because there's a big stigma around mental health, right? It's often so hard to talk about mental health because we don't want the judgment. We don't want the pity. We don't want the questions, and we don't want the doubt that we're actually able to do our job. So today I'm talking about 5 ways to avoid burnout in your business. We're talking about ways to take care of your mental health while running a business, because it's something we as entrepreneurs often neglect. And while it's normal, it's something we really have to get in check, or else it causes a lot more harm than good. There are so many different ways that people will recommend that you can avoid burnout in your business. But I'm just going to talk about the ways that I personally avoid burnout in my business and tips and tricks that can help you. Because I know everyone is different, and everyone is going to work in their own way. Tip number 1, schedule your content. I started with an easy one because, let's be honest, starting with the hard stuff always sucks. Scheduling your content is easy enough in itself if you're one of those people that has all these ideas at once and can write them down. It usually takes about an hour or 2 to schedule a week's worth of content for social media or emails. It's really not that bad, especially if you're using scheduling apps. But how does this work if you're not a person who can sit down and bust out a ton of ideas at once? Start by writing down the idea when you think of it. I keep a notepad in my phone of post ideas. Then I'll sit down at the end of the night and I'll schedule those ideas I had during the day. I'm all about posting when I'm inspired, but I'm also about scheduling those inspired posts for the next day when they're still amazing and beautiful and relevant. Tip number 2, stop filling your head with other people's content. Whoo, girl, this is a hard one, I know. Every single day, we're surrounded by so much to fill our brains. Facebook feeds, Instagram feeds, news, fake news, Twitter, which also has fake news, politics, which also has fake news, emails, content. It is everywhere. And it's one of the quickest ways to burn ourselves out. constantly filling ourselves with that content. Scrolling Facebook endlessly is one of the worst ways to cause burnout because you're seeing so much. And even if you're not actually stopping to read it, you're still subconsciously filling your brain with all of the stuff that you're seeing. So we really have to limit how much we're scrolling. We have to really limit how much we're taking in, even if it's during a time we're working on something, especially if it's during a time we're working on something. I personally limit my time on Facebook and Instagram if I'm in a launch period. And it's because I'll start that mental game of, what if nobody buys? What if they don't see the value? What if they don't see my stuff as valuable as so-and-so? Her feed looks amazing. Her content got more interactions than mine. Why am I not getting that many interactions? We can get so into our own heads when we're constantly filling ourselves with other people's content that it causes so many other issues, and it ultimately drives us into that mental and even physical burnout. Do what you need to do in order to stop your scrolling. If that means turning your phone off, do it. If that means blocking apps during certain times of the day, do it. If that means putting your phone on Do Not Disturb, do it. If that means unfollowing, unfriending, or blocking people in your niche, people in your area of expertise, or people who just flat out can't stop arguing on your feed, then do it. The goal here is to limit how much you're consuming so that you can feel good about yourself and what you're putting out into the world in order to avoid that burnout. Tip number 3, automate. Now, I talked a lot about automation in Season 2, Episode 6, Let's Talk Automation. But one of the best ways to avoid burnout is to automate, plain and simple. The goal of automation, again, is ultimately to take as much stress away from you as possible when it comes to certain parts of your business, to allow portions of your business to run on autopilot so that you don't have to. And that can include social media and posting, like I talked about in Tip 1. It can also include email marketing. It can include email triggers for purchases. It can include so many pieces of your business that can just take that stress away so that you're not overwhelmed in everything that you have to get done. Because that's where a lot of burnout comes from, overwhelm. Tip number 4, be realistic with yourself and your goals. We're all guilty of this, myself included. I always say we because I'm totally in this with you. I try to walk the walk and talk the talk as much as I can, but at the end of the day, I'm also still human. We have to get real here, though. Success doesn't happen overnight, and we're in this age of wanting instant gratification. Think about it. We have food delivery, DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats. We have Amazon Prime, 2-day delivery, or if you're like me, you can get same-day delivery. And yes, that's a thing. We post a photo on Instagram and we only feel good based on how many likes we get. Instant gratification has done such a number to our self-esteem that we now get so into our own heads to determine what our success is. But here's the thing. Business isn't an overnight success. And if your business happens to be one of the very few that is an overnight success, but you don't have any way to prepare it for the long term, then that's going to burn you out. And I know that because I've been there. I had a business that did that. And wow, I hated everybody. Burnout's not fun. And when your business rises to the top really, really fast, when your group rises to the top really, really fast, when anything of it rises to the top really, really fast, the fall is even harder. Because the fact of the matter is that normal businesses take time to succeed. It takes time to turn a profit. It takes time to build an audience. It takes time to create content. It takes time to drip these podcast episodes. It takes time to do all of these things around your business. And when we strive for that instant gratification, we're not seeing what will be the long-term effect of what we're doing. We're not seeing what will lead to the success, what will make us the money, what will bring us the future clients, what will grow our email list. We're so zoned in that we're missing out on actually what is happening and what our goals actually are. So we have to be realistic with ourselves in what we can handle right this second and what we're heading towards and how long it's going to take to get there. When you're realistic, you avoid that burnout. Get rid of the constant need and desire for instant gratification. You'll avoid the burnout. Tip number 5, stop neglecting your self-care. Right now, unclench your jaw, relax your shoulders, and have you even eaten today? And no, coffee doesn't count. I know, I'm so bad at this too. We get so busy in life that we're just going through the motions. We're just getting by until bedtime so that we can get up and do it all over again the next day. But I'll be honest with you, that shit has to stop, and it has to stop now. We have to start taking care of ourselves, even in the smallest ways. My favorite way that I started incorporating self-care into my daily routine is working out. I absolutely live for lifting weights. I mentioned earlier that I'm a domestic violence survivor, and my goal when I got divorced from my ex-husband was to be the strongest woman in the room. So I've been lifting weights off and on for 2 years. But last year, I went all in and started heavy lifting, even powerlifting, so I could get my strength up and lose weight in the process because I just wasn't happy with my body. I even stopped drinking most caffeinated drinks because I just have so much more energy now. But I also do other things, and I highly encourage you to always find what works for you because these are all tips that I use. However, they're great tips, but also find what works for you. We're all different. I recognize that. I'm never going to be that person to tell you, you must work and do this only. I don't see that. So here are some basic ideas that you can use to incorporate self-care. Meditation. I started doing this recently every morning, and I hate to say it, but I really love the 5 minutes of quiet time because I'm not skilled enough to really pay attention for more than that yet. I'm getting there, but not there yet. And that's all you need. 5 minutes. That's a shower for some people. Not me, but for some people it is. Drink water. I know. But believe me, your skin is going to thank you for it. Journaling. Even if it's an app on your phone, it helps me so much just to vent out some of those things through text every now and then. Therapy. This is one of my all-time favorites because I can't hold space for my clients if I don't have someone helping me clear space. And go to bed. Sleeping is seriously one of the best ways to actually incorporate some kind of self-care into your routine. I try to go to bed at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every morning so that my body is used to it. But also, it helps my body just feel better. And boy, does it do wonders to have some sort of a routine, especially when you're running a business. When we at least attempt to take care of ourselves, even if it's showering or washing our hair, we're showing ourselves that we give a damn. When we give a damn about ourselves, it's easier to give a damn about our business, our family, other aspects of our lives. So I hope this was helpful. Using these tips will help you avoid burnout in your business because it helps you take care of your mental health, which in turn will take care of your physical health. Head over to kristenkubick.com/astoldunfiltered for today's show notes. And thank you so much for listening to another episode. As always, I am so thankful you're here. See ya! Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I just wanted to let you know that all of the listeners for As Told Unfiltered get a special offer, especially if you listen to the end because you're amazing. $100 off my signature digital course, Automation Queen to Sales Machine, that's going to help you streamline and automate your business so that you can spend less time making more sales. Use code unfiltered. Go to kristenkubick.com/astoldunfiltered for more information. See ya.